What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome on in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be diving into the Vikings official depth chart before the Week 1 Monday Night Football showdown against the division rival Chicago Bears. We'll be diving into every single position group and give you guys my thoughts on all of those decisions from the Vikes. But before we do so, I was looking at the analytics here, and we're 99 subscribers away from 59,000 here on YouTube. I took this channel over when we had around 2.5, 3,000 subscribers a couple years ago, and the fact that we're closing in on 59K, all shout out to you guys. I appreciate everybody who has hit the subscribe button in the past, but if you guys have not and want to help us reach our next goal of 59K, right down there, hit that subscribe button, and if you guys are subbed, just give me a skull in the comment section. All right, let's dive into it. We're going to start off here offensively for the Vikes, and then we'll dive into the defense and special teams on the later half of today's show. But let's start off with the QB room here. No big shockers with this. Carson Wentz was listed as the QB2 over Max Brosmer. Now, there was some debate amongst Vikings fans, who deserves that QB2 nod. I actually agree with this decision to go in the direction of Carson Wentz because, frankly, let's just say, knock on wood, J.J. McCarthy is abducted by aliens or something before Week 1. I would feel more comfortable with Carson Wentz being the kind of spot start quarterback over a guy like Max Brosmer. Brosmer was fantastic during the preseason. This is no slight to him, but Wentz is a guy who has played some high leverage NFL games. He's been an MVP candidate with his time with the Eagles. He's just a better quarterback right now over Max Brosmer, but who says Brosmer, later on in the season, if he keeps developing during practice, the coaching staff sees something they like, then Brosmer could be QB2. But again, no shockers that it's Carson Wentz QB2 and Max Brosmer QB3. Let's kick it to the running back room here. Aaron Jones was listed as RB1. Then you had Jordan Mason, RB2. And then a bit of a shocker, Ty Chandler getting the RB3 nod over Xavier Scott. I was just frankly shocked that Ty Chandler made the roster in the first place. And then even more stunned that they listed him over Xavier Scott. But on the Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason front. Now, I fully expect this Week 1 of the season to be a 50-50 split. I think it'll just be drive for drive. First drive, we'll probably see Aaron Jones. Second drive, we'll see Jordan Mason. And also, I do believe goal line situations, short yardage situations, they will lean Jordan Mason over Aaron Jones. But watch out for number 33 being very effective in the passing game, especially Week 1. There's been a lot of conversation. Who's going to step up with Jordan Addison out? Obviously, you brought in Thielen. You still got Hawk there. But watch out for Aaron Jones, who had over 500 yards in the passing game this past season. I could see him making an impact Week 1. Maybe ends up catching a touchdown. But also during the second half of the year, I think this would be more of a 60, 70, 30, 40 split in favor of Jordan Mason. But Aaron Jones starting running back for Week 1. Now, the wide receiver depth chart here, they still had Addison listed on the depth chart. That's why he's in the first string unit. But, obviously Justin Jefferson. Then the second stringers, you had Jalen Naylor and Adam Thielen. And then you had the two rookies with the third stringers, Miles Price and Ty Felton. Now, I will say, I have high hopes for this group, even without Jordan Addison. I think Adam Thielen, people just see the age. They see, whatever he did during Carolina, and they just say, oh, this guy's cooked. He's not the same guy anymore. Couldn't be farther from the truth. He helped Bryce Young develop so much. And I could see him, my actually bold prediction, who catches the first touchdown or who scores the first touchdown for the Vikings. I'm going to go the hometown kid, Adam Thielen, but very excited to watch him play. It's going to be absolute chills watching that on Monday Night Football. Thielen, Jefferson getting warmed up. I can't wait to see it. But kicking into the tight end room here, absolutely no shockers. Obviously, T.J. Hockenson listed as tight end 1. One of the best run-blocking tight ends in the league. Josh Oliver, tight end 2. And then Ben Urasek listed as a tight end 3. I do expect the Vikings to run a lot of 2 tight end sets early on in the season. Obviously, they put a big point of emphasis on the running game this offseason, and Josh Oliver will help that a lot. And Oliver in the first half of last year, he really impressed me as a pass catcher. He had a couple big-time games when Hawk did miss some time. So overall, I love the tight end group. I think you got one of the better tandems in the league, and we all expect Hawk to have a massive bounce-back year. He's looked great in training camp. He's been developing nicely, and he finally had a full offseason where he didn't need to rehab his torn ACL. He could just work on himself, work on his body. So I expect Hawk and Oliver to have good years. Then the offensive line, I love looking at this graphic. How good does this feel as a Vikings fan to stare at these 5? And even the 5 backups are pretty high-end. I think you have a high-end swing tackle in Justin School. You got a high-end backup interior offensive lineman, Blake Blandell. Joe Huber was one of the stars and the standouts from the preseason. And the Vikings coaching staff, they love Walter Rouse. So, like, even if the Vikings lost all 5 starters on the offensive line, that backup unit, yes, it would obviously not be a top half of the league group, but it would at least be serviceable. And all reports are indicating Christian Darrisaw will be ready to go week 1. So we'll have the full 5 week 1. Hopefully that maintains throughout the entire season. But even if, like, Will Fries or Ryan Kelly, guys who have dealt with injuries in the past, if they have to miss some time, you got some high-end backups there. So I love that unit. I think Kwesi's done a great job of building out that offensive line for this season. But let me ask you guys this. Speaking about Monday night, I think it's going to be a slugfest. I can't see either team dropping 30-plus points. My score prediction was 23-13 in favor of the Vikings, but speaking about offensively, over-under 19.5 points for the Vikings offense on Monday. Give me an O for over or give me a U for under. Now, coming up next on the show, we'll talk about the defensive and special teams depth charts for your Minnesota Vikings. One shocker on the special teams, so stay tuned to the end to see what that is. But before we do so, today's episode of Vikings Now by Chat Sports is brought to you by PrizePicks. And you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. If you guys download the app today and plug in promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And PrizePicks is simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And speaking about the football season, tomorrow night, Cowboys taking on the Eagles. No Micah Parsons in Dallas. Shout out to Jerry Jones. But they got a deal for you guys. One Dak Prescott passing yard will get you guys one win on PrizePicks. It's their max discount, so make sure you include that in all of your lineups leading up to the Thursday night matchup between the Cowboys and the Eagles. And if you guys download the PrizePicks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you put your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you put your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, let's talk about the defensive and special teams depth charts for your Minnesota Vikings. Again, a bit of a shocker on the special teams, specifically the punt returner, so stay tuned for that. But we can start off with the edge department here. The Vikes actually gave the nod to Bo Richter in the second string unit. I kind of expected that to happen, but I was curious between him and Tyler Beatty who they were going to choose. But you got Jonathan Gennard, Andrew Van Ginkel, the first stringers, Dallas Turner, the second stringer. I am very curious. Like, obviously, there's a ton I'm watching for week 1. Like, obviously, J.J. McCarthy, the improved running game, but also something I'm going to keep my eyes out on. Dallas Turner. How do you get him on the football field more? He cannot play only 300 snaps this upcoming season. He needs to play more. But overall, talking about this edge group heading into week 1, I think this is going to be the reason the Vikings beat the Bears. Caleb Williams took 68 sacks last season. Was that all on him? No. The offensive line played terrible for the Bears last year. But also some of those were on Caleb. And with them starting Braxton Jones at left tackle, I could really see Jonathan Gennard having a field day. And plus with the Bears having a newly constructed offensive line, just communication, that chemistry may take them a couple of weeks, especially going up against Brian Flores and that unit. All the chaos they show at the line of scrimmage. I could see the Vikings, you'll have a couple of sacks just from Gennard being a dog or Dallas Turner, Van Ginkel just winning their one-on-ones. But I could also see the Vikings kind of having some free sacks where it's just like, Theo Jackson's blitzing off the edge or, Isaiah Rodgers with a nickel blitz or whatever it may be. I could see Flores, having a field day in this matchup. But the defensive tackle here, big news and massive shout-out goes to Jalen Redmond, getting the first-string nod when the Vikings are in their base defense with 3 defensive tackles on the field. And then the other 2 guys who we picked up in free agency, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. But I love this unit as well. Like, you're looking even at the depth on this team, like Tieran Ingram Dawkins, Elijah Williams, Levi Drake Rodriguez. Like, I love the depth up front for the Vikings on that defensive line. Even if Redmond's struggling, all right, Elijah Williams, you take your crack at it. Tieran Ingram Dawkins looked great in the preseason. I could see him getting some major run early on in the year as well. And also, Hargrave and Allen, older guys, have dealt with injuries, so you need some depth behind them, and the Vikings have that with this defensive line. The Harrison Phillips trade, sucks to lose him. One of the best run-stuffing defensive tackles in the league, but the Vikings made that move knowing the depth they had behind them, so I thought it was a good call there. But the linebackers, No shockers. Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr., your first stringers. And again, I like the depth at the linebacker position as well. Cashman and Pace both dealt with injuries this past season. So you went out, you signed Eric Wilson, brought him back to Minnesota, spent a 6th-round pick on Kobe King. And then Austin Keys, watch out for this guy making a splash play on special teams on Monday night. But the cornerback room, the 4-man unit, you only got 4 of them, and only 2 of them are listed as first stringers. Now, I fully expect that to be the case. The Vikings going to run 3 safeties majority of the time when they are in that nickel defense. So you'll probably only see Murphy and Rogers out there. But I'll be curious. When they do throw 3 cornerback sets, will it be McLovin or will it be Okuda? I'm guessing they'll give the nod to El Jefe. But again, I think it could just be like whoever's hot. Like if Okuda gets a drive, he doesn't look good, just put McLovin in there. I could see that kind of being a rotation for that 3rd cornerback spot. But this is the guy I'm watching. Isaiah Rodgers, can he step up? Higher snap count. Can he maintain that production? Hopefully we get that answer Monday night. And then the safety room here, Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, and then Tabir Thomas being the special teams demon there. But if Harrison Smith can't go, I'll be very, very curious to see how the Vikings play the safety room. Like, are they still going to run 3 safeties and just give Jay Ward, Harrison Smith snaps? Because I already expect Theo Jackson to play a whole lot. Vikings ran 3 safeties 98% of the time this past season. So we'll see a lot of safeties out there. But if Harrison Smith can't go, I'll be curious to see how Flores handles it. And this is the biggest shocker on the depth chart. 2nd string punt returner for the Minnesota Vikings, the 40-year-old man, Adam Thielen. I will never root for an injury in my life, but if Miles Price is maybe a little gassed before a punt and he needs to take a break, I would absolutely love to see Adam Thielen return a punt. So they got Miles Price, 1st-string punt returner, Thielen, 2nd stringer, and then in the kick returning department, maybe this is why they kept Ty Chandler on the team. Still got Miles Price being the main kick returner here, 1st stringer. Then they got Ty Chandler as a 2nd string. I would rather just flip Ty Chandler and Ty Felton. Have Felton be the 2nd guy back there with Miles Price. Ty Chandler just hasn't really shown enough. He's got really no, game-breaking juice, which I think you need to be for a kick returner. But I'm excited to see Miles Price. He showed some pop during the preseason, so hopefully we can carry that over to the regular season. But I'll tell you what, I can't wait for Week 1. Monday Night Football. We'll be live here on the channel about an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. So you guys let me know who you got. Give me a B for the Vikes or give me a B for the Bears. We'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.